I received laser eye surgery. In this video, we're going to talk about what led me to go down that route, why I decided it was worth the risks, and we are going to talk about the risks, and where we're standing now 3 years later. I've had glasses for pretty well my whole life. I remember in elementary school having my friend sitting beside me, helping me copy down the notes off the school board, not because I didn't know how to write or read, but because I couldn't. My vision was blurry and I was undiagnosed. I had a hard time seeing the board unless I was sitting in the front row of the class. So fast forward to getting my eyes tested in grade 4, finding out that I needed glasses, and spending the rest of my life wearing glasses until 3 years ago when I received laser eye surgery. And trust me, this was a game changer. Perfect. My day-to-day experience was basically anything farther than 4 feet away from me. It was like there was saran wrap that I was looking through. It was just so blurry. I could read up close fine, but let's say I'm in the shower, just looking down at my feet were blurry. And I spent my whole life struggling with that. I was very athletic, played a lot of sports. I would either have to go blind, like playing hockey with no glasses on, or risk getting cranial damage wearing glasses underneath my goggles while I was snowboarding. I just learned to live with it. I had a terrible time touching my eyeballs, so contacts for me were a no-no. And I lived my whole life like that, dealing with the fog up as you put your glasses on in the winter and you take them off as you enter into a building. If you guys have glasses, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you live in a cold climate like this, you'll experience that moment when you walk into a warm building and your glasses just instantly fog and you can't see anything. Don't get me started on COVID with the masks. Wearing a mask and trying to breathe, your glasses were always fogged up. So if I lived my whole life wearing glasses, what led me to the decision to even think about laser eye surgery? I'm going to be honest with you guys. When the Russia-Ukraine war started, I got a little scared. I was thinking if things escalated, it was going to get ugly. And I pride myself in my ability to hunt, fish, trap, and just in general, survive based on identifying my surroundings. One of the struggles I lived with day to day was when I'd go hunting, I'd have to wear my glasses, and I like to go through the pretty thick bush. I would scratch my glasses up to hay all the time, and I was constantly having to go in for new glasses or new lenses. And so there was definitely a financial aspect because that was adding up. That was getting very expensive over the years. But more importantly, and genuinely, this is what led me to seriously pursue it. I was concerned that if the world kind of got a little dicey and I lost or broke my glasses and we were living in a world where you couldn't just get replacements, I was going to be useless. I was not going to be a very good hunter when I could only see about 6 feet in front of me. I was not going to be very useful at identifying edibles in the forest when I couldn't see 6 feet in front of me. I was not going to be useful to a community that requires everybody to be participating and useful. And so yes, I would say that I pursued laser eye surgery for the simple fact that I may or may not be a prepper. There are a couple different types of laser eye surgery, and the kind that I got was LASIK. L-A-S-I-K, LASIK eye surgery. And so guys, if you have ever been curious about laser eye surgery, the process, the procedure, the recovery, and the side effects, I want you guys to like and subscribe and stick around to this whole video because we are going over everything. When talking about laser eye surgery, the type I received is a LASIK, which stands for Laser Assisted In Situ Keratomyelitis. A mouthful, right? But that's not the only kind. So if you don't qualify for LASIK, I encourage you to look at PRK or SMILE. Briefly, PRK involves the surgeon removing the outer layer of your cornea and then using a laser to correct the shape of your eye, and then that outer layer grows back. The recovery is generally longer and a little more uncomfortable, but it is a great option for certain people who have different corneal defects that can't be treated with LASIK. SMILE is a newer procedure, not as easily accessible as LASIK and PRK, but what this one involves is making a small incision in the flap of your eye and then cutting out a lens-shaped corneal correction that fixes your vision. It is a very good option if it's available in your area. What they're doing when they're doing LASIK is they're reshaping your eyes to correct the defect in the vision. They take a bunch of corneal imaging to see how your eyes are shaped, and they know exactly how to fix it. Just like your optometrist giving you glasses to fix your eyes, they're just doing it surgically within your eyes themselves. I chose LASIK because my cornea was thick enough for the procedure, and my optometrist told me that I would be a good candidate. When I went to the LASIK eye surgery location, they did a series of imaging and testing and confirmed that my vision was within the correctable range and that I was indeed a valid candidate. So next, we talked about pricing. So the elephant in the room is the cost of laser eye surgery. Because it is an elective surgery, meaning it isn't prescribed, it is something that you seek and receive, often it's not covered by any insurance and benefits. I had to pay $5,000 to get both of my eyes fixed. Now, they did do it similar to car payments, where I had a 0% interest 36-month payment plan, and so I was able to pay my eyes off. Sounds weird to say, but pay my eyes off over the course of 3 years. Now, this was a little more expensive than maybe something you might be looking for. The LASIK eye surgery place offered me 3 pricing options. Now, the base tier was a lot cheaper. It was about $3,000. However, getting the base model would give you some night flares. Have you ever shined your camera at a streetlight and you see the big halo? That is what you'd be experiencing with your eyes when you were driving at night, which doesn't feel that safe. The next step up was the fully laser-assisted surgery, and that was about $4,000. So how did I get to $5,000? Well, I paid for the warranty. Yes, just like your car, you can buy warranty on your eyes. What this means is as long as you go in for routine checkups, every couple of years I go in and they do a new scan on my eyes so that they have a history. If my vision were to deteriorate, not because of an accident like a branch to the eye, but just over time as I got older, as long as I still stayed within the corrective range, they can repeat the procedure again and again over the years to continue to fix your eyes. And so I paid the $1,000 one-time upfront cost for perfect vision forever. And while $5,000 is a significant amount of money, I want you to take a minute and think about your latest optometrist appointment, how much that cost you, how much glasses cost you, how often you have to buy glasses, and how often you just push it off even though your glasses are super scratched and they're getting pretty bad and maybe your prescription's changed a little bit. You've been putting it off because of the cost. And so in my opinion, a one-time fee to be said and done and not have to worry about the headaches of having glasses, your prescription changing, and getting literal headaches because things are a little bit off, breaking your glasses, breaking your frames, having to deal with the fog up, raindrops, splash ups, and all the fun stuff like, hey hon, do you know where I put my glasses? I felt LASIK was a pretty good option, but it comes with some significant risks. Like all surgeries, there are risks involved, and we are not going to gloss over those because they made me read like 14 pages of risks, and it all ended with, oh, by the way, you could die. The first risk is that you could receive the surgery and it could just not be effective. As good as they are with the imaging and the lasers, they could be off by a minuscule amount and your eyes could either see no change or in fact get worse. And yes, if they make your eyes worse, there is a chance for them to come back and fix it, but there's also a chance that they might not be able to fix it. Immediately after the surgery, what most people, myself included, experience is dry, itchy eyes. I mean, they cut your eyes and then burn them with a laser. And so they need to heal just like any other wound on your body. And so you are constantly putting eye drops in. For me, that lasted for 3 to 6 months. For most people, I would say 6 to 9 months. And some people, forever. There are cases of chronic eye irritation after getting laser eye surgery. If things don't heal just perfectly, or a fleck of particle is stuck underneath the flap of your eye, they have to go back in, get that out, or if things heal over and they can't, there is a real risk of permanent damage. During the recovery also, a lot of people still experience the halos around lights, starbursts from headlights, different struggles with glare, fogginess, tired eyes, itchy eyes, irritated eyes, and all the things that come with healing, but rest assured for most people that does go away and recover. During the operation, there is a risk that when they create the flap to lift the cornea up to do the laser eye surgery, that they accidentally take the whole flap off, at which point they have to stop the surgery, reattach that, and let it heal before you can go back for surgery like 6 months later. So that is a risk that definitely sounds awful. And then, of course, like I said, there is the risk that you could die. Now, how are you going to die from laser eye surgery? Well, that is mostly due to complications during the healing process. Just like any surgery you get, if you were to get an infection, that infection could then overstimulate your body and lead to septicism, and you could die. There are cases, very rare, like you're talking 0.001%, but that is more than zero, of people losing their eyes because they don't heal right, they get infected, their body rejects them, and in order to save the person's life, they lose their eyes. So you're reading a list while you're preparing for your surgery, telling you all of these things from, okay, you might get permanent itchy eyes. That sucks. You might lose your eyes. Wait, what? You might die. Huh? And so before you decide whether or not you want to get this surgery, I really encourage you to dig deeper into these risks to decide if it is worth it for you. In my personal opinion, I was already worried that if the world ended, I was going to die. So that was already on the table. So I decided that one, I'm okay with it. Now let's talk about the day of the procedure itself. You show up first thing in the morning to the clinic. They hand you your consent forms and the list of risks associated with the surgery. And if you feel confident, you sign off, give them the paperwork, and you then sit in the waiting room with a bunch of other people looking nervous and terrified as, hey, because it is a nerve-wracking process. Now, my situation went a little bit sideways, and I'm going to tell you about that. But for the normal person, you sit in the waiting room, and about a half hour to an hour before the surgery, they come and give you numbing eye drops. This is so that you won't feel the surgery. And then you go into another pre-op waiting room where they give you some more eye drops. They'll kind of use a pressure tester on your eyeballs, make sure you can't feel anything. And then you go into the procedure room. You're going to lie down on a table, and on your back, the doctor's going to double check that your eyes are numb. And then he is going to use a device to hold your eyes open, and he's got a special tool that will then make a slice and lift the flap of your cornea up. Or it can be done with a laser, where a laser will come, cut, and then lift your eye. Then they use this tool to hold your eyeball open, and the laser sits down in front of your face. It's a little bit intimidating, and you're going to feel pressure, and most of that pressure is coming from that device holding your eyeball open because it's kind of lifting and squeezing and making sure that the eyelids are out of the way. And there's pressure there, but because of the numbing drops, not supposed to be very painful. And then the laser does its thing. They'll ask you to stare into a target or a light. It's very bright, very blurry, and then the laser does its thing. You can't blink anyway, so it's just look straight ahead. Don't dart your eyes around, just look straight ahead. These lasers are very attuned so that if you were to look away, they'll stop. And then when you're looking straight again, it'll resume. Just look at the light, and you're going to smell a little bit of a burning sensation as it's going through and correcting your vision. When you're done that eye, they will go and do the other eye. They'll put a little thing over it and keep it covered so that it is sanitary and safe. Now, I mentioned my situation was a little bit different. I was the last person of the day, and so they were in a bit of a rush to get through it, and they forgot to give me that numbing ointment before my surgery. And so I'm sitting in the waiting, and I'm telling the people, hey, I haven't got my numbing stuff yet. Guys, numb my eyes. Hey, eye drops, numbing eye drops. I get ushered into the OR, the operating room, and I lie down on the table, and the surgeon says, okay, are you ready? And I said, haven't got my eye drops yet. And he's like, oh, okay, give me a second. And so he goes and gets them. He applies it to my eyes, and his litmus test to whether or not they're working was kept dropping it until I stopped flinching. And then this surgeon didn't use the laser to cut the flap. He used the tool that slices. And I'm going to tell you, that hurt like a mofo because my eyes were not frozen yet. And so as he was cutting, I was holding a little squishy ball and I was squeezing that thing. That was awful. And he knew, he could tell. And afterwards, he actually apologized. He said, hey, sorry if that was uncomfortable. You think it was uncomfortable? But I digress. After you make it through the cut, that pressure is just pressure and it's not bad. And the laser does its thing and that doesn't hurt at all. It's just that initial squeeze of cutting my dang eye flap open. That was not fun. So make sure you get the eye ointment. Advocate for yourself. If you're in a situation like me, don't wait till the last second. Say, listen, I cannot receive the surgery until you've adequately numbed my dang eyeballs. But I digress. Everything else went very smooth. The recovery, when you're done, you have to put on some dark glasses because your eyes are going to be very sensitive to light. They were just lasered and they're healing. But you can still see. It's kind of like looking through a wall of water. The tricky thing for me with my surgery was that you have to go pick up your prescription afterwards. And I was in a building where I was on the 5th or 6th floor and the pharmacy was on like the 2nd floor. So blurry-eyed and walking around, I had to navigate to the elevator, get myself to the right floor, get to the pharmacy, turn in my prescription, get the medication, and then call my ride and get picked up. All of this was a very disconcerting feeling, but that's all it was, a disconcerting feeling. Now, the medication they give you is going to be antibiotics and a steroid ointment. And if I had to give you a recommendation, it's not to go out to Red Lobster for dinner. Because when I was on that steroid ointment, my stomach was a bottomless pit. I ate my meal, I ordered a second meal, and then I cleaned up the plates off of all of my kids and my wife. I have 5 kids. I ate all of their food. My stomach was a bottomless pit. And the cool thing about the steroid cream or ointment on your eyes was that your vision is so good, like ridiculously good. Your eyes, when you're getting that ointment after the first day, your eyes are just like laser focused. It is insane. The blues are bluer, the greens are greener. You can count the pine needles on all the trees behind me. It was amazing. I could see the sharp edges of every skyscraper. And when you've lived for 25, 30 years wearing glasses and seeing a blur in front of you, when all of a sudden you can see in the most intense definition ever, it is magical. Now, when you're off the steroids, your eyes do settle down a little bit and all of that magic is gone. But for me, my vision was still perfect. I had to deal with that dry eyes that we talked about for about the 3 to 6 months. But after that, my vision just flatlined as perfect. I have my commercial driver's license, and so I routinely have to get my eyes checked. And every time since my surgery, I have gotten 20/15 vision or better. Last month, I just went back to my laser eye surgery location because I paid for that warranty. They then did more imaging on my eyes to see how have they changed in the last 3 years. And I can assure you that I have what they called superhuman vision. I tested at 2010. I read the 2020 line, boom, perfect. I read the 2015 line, boom, perfect. And the girl behind the counter said, "Can you read the bottom one?" And I read it perfect. And she looked at me like, you're not supposed to be able to read that one. That's amazing. And it was amazing. My eyes are so good. I don't get the irritated eyes. I don't get the itchy eyes. I don't get the halos. I just have perfect vision, which makes me feel pretty dang good since, the climate of the world isn't getting any better, albeit it hasn't ended yet. I feel great about having reliable eyes. That being said, when you go bushwhacking and you've made a $5,000 investment on your eyeballs, wear your safety glasses. Protect your eyeballs. Honestly, in the past, I was not that good at protecting my eyeballs. I figured, the glasses that I'm wearing are going to do the job. So I'd be cutting with saws, using chainsaws, cutting through the bush. And if I got a branch to the eye, my eyes are already bad. Protect your eyeballs, friends. And as a side note, because I live off grid in the middle of nowhere, to go to my laser eye surgery location was about a 6-hour drive. So I had to make that drive before my recent appointment. And I still, even with road strained, weary eyes, had perfect vision. Is that not beautiful? And I want to reiterate, while I am telling you that I had an amazing success story with my laser eye surgery, I encourage you to check out other videos that may not have been as successful. I do not want to disillusion you to think that this is a 100% surefire, perfect vision, best thing in the world thing, because there are some people who have had complications, and this is a real serious thing to consider. There can be complications, and so you need to ask yourself, why do I want laser eye surgery? Is it worth the risk? Can I financially afford it? For me, this has been an amazing success story, but I just want to make sure you do your own due diligence, because my case may not be your case or someone else's case. But personally, it has been life-changing. If you are considering LASIK eye surgery, I encourage you to talk to your optometrist, go get a consultation, see if you are a qualified candidate, read the risks, read the rewards, and decide for yourself, are you a candidate for laser eye surgery, and is it worth it? For me, 2010 vision 3 years out, I'm going to say booyah. And if you liked what you saw here, like and subscribe to the channel, guys. This is my wild life. I am an off-grid homesteader. I have a beautiful wife, 5 children, a farm that we are constantly growing. And guys, I love sharing adventure and excitement with you guys. So come on, subscribe, stick around, get to know me. Till next time, stay wild.